Welcome to the Olathe Spark Starters podcast, where it is our mission to inspire innovative ideas and empower educators to cannonball into personalized professional learning. We're your hosts, Jordan Billings, 7th grade social studies from Indian Trail Middle School,
and Ryan Stevens, 8th grade social studies at Summit Trail Middle School.
Our goal for this episode is to share ideas on how to amp up student voice in the classroom.
Okay, and we are here with Teresa Van Zandt. Teresa, welcome to the show.
All right, thank you. Thanks for asking me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Can you introduce yourself for those of us that don't know you?
Well, I'm Teresa Van Zandt, as you said. I teach at Green Springs Elementary. It's my 25th year, and it's all been at Green Springs, and so very near and dear to my heart. And as I said, I think I said teach 4th grade. Have also taught 5th grade, 6th grade, moved back to 5th grade for a year, and then moved down to 4th.
I love the fact that you said it was your anniversary.
Yes,
to me, that's awesome. I love it.
That is a great way to celebrate things. So we're actually getting something started with kind of a unique way. We've got a quote to start us off this time. So this is from Elizabeth Boswich. She says, "Every single voice matters, young or old. Our thoughts, ideas, and feelings are important. In our schools, we can create opportunities for all voices to be heard and ideas embraced. As adults, it's easy to get caught up in our day-to-day work. We may make plans and facilitate learning without giving much thought to student voice with no ill intention."
So if we all hit the pause button to reflect, how often would you say that you empower the voice of learners in your school and classroom, and why does that matter?
Well, ideally, I think that I try to do this throughout every day because I think it's something that is important for kids and that needs to be not just something that once in a while, that you treat them as if they're the valued member of the classroom, because they are. I think that students are more invested in their learning when they feel like what they have to say matters and that it's important and their opinions matter. And I also think that our classroom environment's more upbeat and more learning happens and the day runs smoother, which I think as teachers, we all want that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. If we can take something off our plate and keep things running, I think that's always what we're looking to do. And we all know that every individual has a unique perspective, and we need to foster those cultures where students feel genuinely valued. So how can we empower all voices and take into consideration the diversity of those we call upon to share?
Well, I think that teaching and modeling respect in the classroom, that I try to give my kids respect and ask for that in return. I think that it's not something that you can demand from them. I think that it's something that is reciprocated.
Thank you, rightly, yeah.
That you get what you give. And so I try and do that, teach and model respect and, help them learn when they have, made poor choices or been, maybe acted, in an inappropriate way. So that's a learning opportunity. I also think that, teaching kids how to build on discussions that, we all don't think the same, and it would be really super boring if we did, but to honor somebody else's opinion and, but like to share yours, I agree with you or I can see what you're saying, but have you thought about, this idea or, to give value to their opinion, but also to share yours in a respectful manner. I love read alouds during the school day, and so I try to do a variety of read alouds. I think that a diverse representation, because over the 25 years I've been here, the classroom dynamics have changed, and I think that it's important for kids to see themselves reflected in what we read and what we study.
Absolutely. And
I also think that by having a diverse group represented, with read alouds and with what we study, that it makes us all better, better people. It makes us more of a global perspective, to honor and respect. Like I said, I do a lot of read alouds. I started something this year. I came across it through social media called Classroom Book a Day. And there's a Facebook group that, of all places, you kind of think of Facebook as fluff a lot of times, but there's a lot of real great learning that goes on. And a lot of books are shared through there with, diverse groups. And my kids are really, really liking it. It's picture books, but it's really some rich, discussion that happens. And one of my students was, like, where did you get that book idea? And, I said, well, it was the Facebook group. And, it was all like teachers and librarians and professionals. And I loved the fact that he said, well, those people really know what they're talking about because it's, fiction and nonfiction. We have participated the last 3 years in Global Read Aloud, and, which gives them a wide range. This year we did the Global Read Aloud book that we did was Front Desk, and, it dealt with some issues that, kids could relate to, but then also had some deeper, deeper issues that, really sparked a lot of rich discussion.
Nice. That's really cool. That's awesome.
That's awesome. I'm especially loving the teaching and modeling respect. I think a lot of times there are a lot of teachers that just say, like, I'm the teacher and I'm here, so I automatically get that. And to say, well, no, maybe you kind of got to give a little bit to get a little bit, and you got to earn that credit with those students as we go. I love that. How do you develop these purposeful conversations through structures in your classroom?
Well, we do. Like I said, the Global Read Aloud, we've made a lot of connections through Twitter, and we have Skyped a lot, and so I have them generate some questions ahead of time. I really like last year's group. There were several kids that were like, I don't want to talk, and I didn't force them. And by the end of the end of the semester, they were volunteering to ask questions. So I felt like they felt like what they had to say, mattered.
Oh, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
Love it.
And we do Skypes with Skype a scientist, and we're Skyping 2 authors next month with World Read Aloud. And so they're really excited about that. We'll generate questions with that. Then as far as we're doing virtual Valentines where they will make a connection with, I've already got somebody lined up in Canada where they've got that. And so they'll be able to, converse with them and, share their ideas. We have a blog, the Seesaw blog, where we post to that, and they're connected where they can make comments on their buddy, from Canada. Trying to think of what else. Oh, virtual field trips, with Microsoft, where it's Skype in the classroom. My kids love those, and I feel like when they are able to, interact with others and hear what they need to be doing, if they are interested in, maybe working in Yellowstone National Park or something like that, even if they don't ever, go that route, at least that gives them a purpose, and they, have their ideas valued.
Yeah. Nice. It gives them that experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're speaking my language when you're talking national parks. I'll tell you that. So Elizabeth Boswich also says, one way we can encourage student voice is by asking students to answer the question, how might we? And we can amplify student voice by encouraging them to pose questions, and we can ask the right questions to encourage reflection and spark ideas.
So how do you encourage this in your classroom, and how do you go to resources that support you to do that?
Well, several years ago, I signed up to have a class Twitter. And, basically I thought that would be just something I would tweet once in a while. Mm-hmm. And, I know we do tweet a lot now, way more than we ever have before. But I think that, like Twitter chats, like with Global Read Aloud, sometimes you can have Twitter chats, so, like a slow Twitter chat or, real time. And kids are able to respond. They don't ever have their names on it, but they still feel like their voice is being heard in a grown-up way. We did something, we talked about Skype, sessions with the authors and scientists. They have time to ask questions or to write their questions down, but you can always see that they've got this, this idea that comes to them. So, we open up for, Q&A, on the spot, like impromptu. A couple years ago, we had a lot of family members that Skyped with us. One, she is one of the first females that is on a submarine.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, she was going through the process. She was a former Green Springs student, and her brother was in my class. And, you could just tell that he had that sense of pride that it was his sister. And so the girls, I think that empowered them, that they were seeing somebody that, one of the first females that was going to be stationed on a submarine. And they were able to ask questions and, to learn from her. My kids love sharing their personal writing journals. Like if we had like an hour every day, I don't still think that they would have enough time to share it. I never make them share it, because that's a lot. That's kind of vulnerable to stand up and
I think we're kind of, some of us, I think, are going to live vicariously through you a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is just amazing stuff. Yeah.
So Elizabeth Boswich shares the following ways that you can empower student voice. And here's a couple of examples. So you've got morning meetings. You can do surveys, feedback forms, choice in how you demonstrate learning, leveraging technology, giving them leadership roles, having things like student-led conferences, time to explore interests and passions.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge list of ways. Right? That's just almost checklist right there of ways to empower students. But do you got any additional ideas you could add to this list?
We do use a lot of choice menus in my classroom. We use a lot of technology. I love technology, and try to incorporate that in a meaningful way, not just for the sake of doing it. But Genius Time, kind of modified that idea of the Genius Hour. Right. And giving them a choice of what they research and how they present it to the class. They really like that. I've started doing something last year where I learned about it on Twitter, and it was called AHA, Appreciation, and Apology Notes, where at the end of the day you would have a Post-it note. I don't do the apology because I think that if it's if you need to apologize to somebody, you need to be like one-on-one,
right?
Rather than just putting a Post-it note and sharing it with the class. But my class really likes the AHA and the appreciation notes. So, for instance, at the end of the day, I'd like for everybody to take a Post-it note. You can do an AHA moment. A lot of them are, I finally learned how to simplify fractions, or, for just an example.
That could be a big deal.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, to reflect on what you learned and, you feel good about. And the appreciation notes a lot of times are just, I really appreciated when my friend did. Or, a lot of times they'll say, I really appreciated, Ms. Van Zandt when she did. And sometimes, it's very nice, that's one way that, I give them some voice in how the day went and, recognition and reflection on it. When I have a sub, I leave a Post-it, or not a Post-it note, but like a chart paper, and it's got a big question on it. How will you represent yourself today? And what did you do to help the learning environment? And they all have a Post-it note at the end. So they know that there's some accountability and that they see themselves as a leader in how the day goes. Because I did a semester as a sub. It's hard.
Oh, yeah. I spent years in the sub pool, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm definitely dog-earing that one to take a look at for my class, for sure.
Absolutely. That's amazing. So you've got so much to share, and we've only got so much time on a podcast like this. So if listeners want to learn more from you, where can they find you online?
The best place would probably be through Twitter. Okay. Sending me, a message or whatever. It's at VZGators4. And that's our class Twitter. And, that would be a good one. I'm on Instagram, personal, but it's not, a class, that they could certainly do that. I think my handle is TA Van Zandt. I think it's real boring. But, if they wanted to, message me there, but probably Twitter would be the best.
Okay. Is there somebody in the district who's been a spark starter for you?
Well, in my building, there are a lot, but the two that pop into my mind would be Loran Hess. She's our Quest teacher.
Okay.
And she's wonderful about sharing information, sharing ideas, letting me, pick her brain. And, so she is really good. I have a new to the grade level coworker this year. She moved up from 3rd grade when my colleague retired last year, Melissa Saxon. And she's been good, to just bounce ideas off of and to see 4th grade through a new set of eyes, even though, 3rd and 4th, very close. And then district wide, I would say Ariel Jankard,
Yes.
And I met her through DTAC. Janelle Stigl, and she's another one. And we did Kansas Nerd Camp a couple years ago, and I got to know her better. And she's just got both of them have really dynamic ideas. And, even though Ariel has moved to 1st grade, still follow her on Twitter and still, really value what she has to do in the classroom. And then the third one outside of my building would be Kaylin Keplinger. And we have a shared Google Drive that we did a lot with technology and have gotten to know her. And she's just got really great ideas. And I consider her a good resource.
Absolutely.
That's an amazing list.
That is.
That's some awesome people. So, Teresa, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for asking
great to have you.
Yeah,
I
enjoyed it.
Awesome. So I'm Jordan Billings, 7th grade social studies, Indian Trail Middle School.
I'm Ryan Stevens, 8th grade social studies at Summit Trail Middle School.
As always, check out the most recent aim to nominate a Spark starter. There's a tab and a form to fill out where you can nominate somebody who's sparking innovation around you so that they can be recognized in the district. Until next time, keep sparking innovation.